Hello people, today we're doing a set I'm calling Bloomin' Flowers. Let's get started. I forgot to show you what I was using, but this is blooming gel we're putting on here, and I'm using a medium length curved almond. I have a whole ton of these and I don't use them very often, so I decided I'm just going to use them for these. Also, because they're natural colored instead of clear, I thought it would work good with this, so I don't have to put a base color on. Now we're going to be using 3 colors of Beetles neon jellies. It'll be the pink, the yellow, and the orange, and we're just going to dab these on randomly. Originally I was going to use all 6 colors, but once I got these first 3 on here, I didn't want to add the other 3. I didn't think they would look good with these, so I decided just to stick with these. Now we're just dotting these on randomly. Now the colors, numbers for these are in the description. As you can see, I forgot to show you the bottles at the beginning, along with the blooming gel, which is also Beetles. As I said, I'm doing this video back to back with the one I just did with the cat eye cats, because I need to get ahead, as I'll be going out of town here in another week or so. So I'm still, as I said in the last video, I'm very frazzled still. So this one has got a lot of stuff that happened out of order and things I forgot to hit record. I'm sorry. I'm sure you can get the gist of it from what I do have here. I'm so frazzled with my husband in the accident situation, between his health and the car being totaled and fighting with insurance company and lawyers, and it's a whole mess. But that's not what you guys are here for. Just know that I'm frazzled, and that's why this is so crazy. But I'm doing my best, people. We're just going to dab these on here until I'm happy. Now, I don't know why, but the orange one did not seem to want to bloom out very well. Maybe I had sat too long, and maybe it was starting to cure up just from my desk lamp. I don't know. I don't think it was, but I'm just going to add a little bit more pink on some of this. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to let it sit and bloom out for about maybe 30 seconds-ish. And I will hold it upside down a little bit too, just to get it away from the side edges where it tends to want to pool up. Oopsie. Sorry about that. I like to edit those out so you're not seeing my hands cross over like that. Obviously, I missed that one. Okay, once I'm happy with the bloom on it, we're going to cure it. And here we are, just holding it upside down. Yeah, the blooming polish tends to pool up along the side edges if you get a lot of it on there, so I'm just trying to get it back towards the center. And that's cured. Now we're going to go in with a second layer because I thought it needed a little bit more oomph. So this is blooming gel again. Now at the end of this, with the second layer of the bloomed polishes on there, I really should have given them just a light buff, because there's a little bit of lumpy stuff where some of the polish did not flatten out all the way, so it's a little bit, there's a couple spots where it's a little bumpy. I'm not super concerned because, as usual, nobody's going to be wearing these, so, but if I were making them for somebody, definitely would want to do that. Okay, now I'm just going to go in and give these a little bit more. This time I started with the darkest one and working my way back to the lighter one. I just wanted them to have a little bit more oomph. They were just looking a little bit too faded out. And I'm glad I did not go in with the green, the blue, and the purple, because I think that just would have been too much. Too many different colors, it just would have looked yucky, I think. This also would have looked pretty if I just used the blue, green, and purple instead of these three. Would have been nice too. I guess I could have done some of them blue, some of them with the cool colors, some with the warmer colors, and alternated maybe, but I was just liking the way these colors were looking together, so I just kept them like this. Now this second layer I let sit for about 1.5 minutes because I really wanted them to bloom out a lot. You're not going to see the whole sitting time because I'm going to cut it off once I get all this yellow on here. But I let them sit for probably maybe 1 minute, and then I held them upside down for about another 30 seconds, and then they're going to go in to be cured. So this is going to cut here in a second, and we're going to shift over to the next step. That's what they look like before I put them into cure. And now they're back out. Okay, now we're going to start on the flowers with the white carving gel. Now, before I get too into that, I'm just going to say I should have done my top coat in between this step and that last one we did. I don't know why I didn't. As I said, I'm frazzled, but so we'll have to do it out of order. If you're going to do a set like this, if you're following along, do your top coat now on all the nails. Don't wait. It's way easier to do it at this point. Anyway, moving on with what I actually did. I'm taking the carving gel, I'm going to make it into some little balls, and hopefully we're going to get them to be uniform in size, because that's kind of at least close together. Now after I get this first flower done, I've sped it up so you will not be, see, this one here is a bit too big. I am going to show you all 5 of the nails being done with the flowers, but I'm just going to have it sped up, as I said, after this first one. Now also, while you're watching me do this part, I was originally going to use some pigment powders and give them a light brush towards the center of the flowers with colored pigment powders. I decided after I squished the flower petals down and they were thinned out, there was enough of the undercolor of the nail showing that it gave it a little color anyway, so I decided not to do the pigment powders in the center. Also, if you guys work with acrylic, this would probably be easier and faster for you guys to use acrylic to do these flower petals. I mean, I could have done it like that, but I just don't like working with acrylic anymore, so I'm going to stick with my gels. With the acrylic, obviously, it's going to be curing up the whole time you're working with it, so you have to be speedy and you got to know what you're doing, get it done quickly. With this is a lot more forgiving. Now, I did put alcohol on the nail because that's going to kind of melt the carving gel a little bit on the bottom, and that will have it stick better to the nail and it will stay firmly on there once it's cured. It just gives it a little better adhesion. Now, I was going to originally do 4 petals or 5, but since I stuck this so far up into the corner, I only needed 3. And since this one had 3 petals, I'm only going to do 3 petals on all of them. So I'm just putting those back in the little pot and putting the lid on it so that it's not sitting under the lamp getting cured. But I'm going to use a silicone tool, and we're just going to squish these guys down. You know, this nail was trying to come off the nail stand. That's why I've got a harder grip on it than I normally probably would have. And as I start to squish these down and get them shaped into actual petal shapes that I want, you'll see the color coming through underneath. So that's why I opted not to do the pigment powder part that I was originally going to do. Okay, we just want to squish these out until we get some kind of a shape we're happy with. I like to make the ends of them a little bit pointy. And also the edge that's going to be near the center of the flower, I want to squish those down really flat because I'm going to be putting crystals in there, which let me tell you now how that goes, because that's the part I forgot to hit record on when I did the crystals in the centers of the flowers. All I did was use yellow crystals and pop those into the center, and then where the glue squished out around the edge of the crystals, I sprinkled some neon orange caviar beads around the edge of the crystal just to cover that glue and give it a little bit more, just a little bit more, something different there in the middle. Now, as I said, I'm trying to squish these guys down flat towards the center so the crystals will lay on there properly. And then that's it for that one. We'll move on to the next ones. Okay, let's move on. Thank you. Okay, we're just going to do the same thing on all the rest of these. I'm going to pick a spot on these other ones where I see that maybe there's a blemish or there's some kind of something going on with it that didn't look good. I mean, there was a couple that I had some spots like that, so that's why the flowers got put where they were. But we're just going to be doing the same thing on all the rest of them. Just putting them in different places on each one. Now, a lot of people use 4 petals, and they usually have the two ones closest to the edge are longer and thinner, and the other 2 in the centers are shorter. Personally, I don't totally like the way that looks because it looks odd to me that they're different petals or different lengths. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. That's just my own opinion. If you're already doing them like that, carry on. You do what makes you happy. Also, as you're watching me make these petals, I've already got a plan for a Christmas set where I'm going to do these same kind of flowers, but we're going to use red, and it will be obviously poinsettias for Christmas. But that is months away. Just remember, when you guys see me do that set, that you knew about it already months in advance. Sometimes I get ideas for stuff, and that's how it goes. Like, I've already talked about my Halloween nails that are going to be upcoming later this year. I already know what I'm going to do for those. I've already got that planned out from last year. So sometimes I'm doing stuff on the fly, like this set here. Kind of was okay, I got to come up with another set for next time. What am I going to do situation? And I mean, I looked at the stuff on my list, that I have a list of things I've got ideas written down, and none of them sounded appealing at the time. So I mean, some of them are holiday themed, so obviously I can't do those yet, but so I do plan some stuff out in advance, and sometimes I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Usually the ones that I'm just kind of doing on the fly don't usually come out as well as ones where I have thought them through and planned it out, but that's pretty much the case with everything. Although once in a great while, I'll be doing something on the fly, and I'll come up with something that looks pretty cool that I like, and I'm like, geez, I should have thought of that. And that will spark other ideas, and then I can go off of that. Oh, while you guys are watching this, let me just quickly say too, I am going to be starting my own nail art group pretty soon. I don't know exactly when, but it is going to be happening soon, so look out for that. It will be on Facebook. Some of the groups I've been in for a good while now are starting to fizzle out. There's a couple that my stuff is not getting posted. It's just sitting there pending, and it's starting to bother me. So I've decided it's time for me to just have my own group. I haven't settled on a name yet, but I'm thinking of calling it Let's Do Nail Art. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Or if you got any brilliant ideas for a nail art group name, hit me up with them. probably within the next month probably is when I'm going to get that set up, just when I have time. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe while I'm out at my folks' house for that week, I should have plenty of time for dilly-dallying, so I will, I might try to do it then. Okay, we're on to the pinky now. Obviously, I'm making the little balls smaller for this one, and I just opted to go with right at the very top of this. One of these days, I'm going to sit and attempt to do roses with this carving gel. I've really been wanting to do them, but I just haven't had the patience to sit and actually do them. If I do, I'll probably do them as a separate video and make up some roses ahead of time and then use them on something. Because it doesn't look that hard, but those kind of things can be deceiving. Sometimes the things that look like they're easy, you go to try to do them and they turn out to be a royal pain in the you-know-what. But I will try to do my best. We don't always get a winner with each set, but I try. Also, fair warning, it's we're fully into summer now, so for the next probably 4 months, it's going to be a rare occasion around here if we get anything below 90 degrees, so. Okay, we got all those guys done. Those are going to go into cure for 2 minutes. And in we go. Okay, and now I'm doing my final top coat, which, as I said earlier, should have been done before this, but I did not do it that way. Mainly because I screwed up, but see, this is a good chance to see where the color is coming through the flower petals just a little bit from underneath. So that gave me just enough little bit of color in there that I was happy with it. Otherwise, as I said, I was going to use pigment powder to just brush towards the center of those, which doesn't always work the best for me. It never wants to stick on there. I guess I need to do it while it's wet. But I did not end up needing it for these, at least I don't think so. Since I just wanted a hint of color in the center of the petals, I guess we got that. And as I already told you, after this, I glued on the crystals and the little orange caviar beads, which you'll see in the finished picture. I just did not hit record. So we're just about there. These are going to go into cure. There's where we are. And in they go. And there it is, all finished. Not too bad for knocking it out pretty quickly, I don't think. Anyway, if you like them, please give me a like. I'd really appreciate it, and it helps me out a lot. And I will be posting a new tutorial every Saturday, even while I'm gone. That's why I get ahead of the game. See you guys next time. Try to stay cool. Bye-bye. Oh, and remember, if you come up with any good ideas for nail art group names, let me know in the comments. See you next time, guys. Bye.